Hi, everybody. First of all, I just want to thank you for checking into the podcast. I do, however, want to give you this trigger warning. The episode that you're about to tune into does contain conversations and topics like sexual molestation, grooming, sexual assault. So, if you are okay with this, please stay tuned. If not, if this is a little too much, please check in next Monday for a new episode. Thank you so much.
Hello and welcome back to the Momster Podcast. I am your host, Veronica Castellanos, and this is another Monday, or at least another week. As always, this is an Amplify Her Media Network podcast. If you haven't done so already, I do want to recommend that you go hit that follow button at the Amplify Her Media podcast on Instagram. So shout out to Christina. Shout out. What up, gang? Anyways, it is the week of Christmas. So for those that celebrate Christmas, I hope you're done shopping. I hope you are ready for all of the Christmas things and Christmas festivities, and I am so distracted by my glasses, so let me take those off. Yeah, I hope the shopping's over for you. It's not for me. Santa has not gone shopping yet for my children. But I really am hoping that I can get to it. It's just been it's been a real one. And I've been working since last Sunday. 7 days straight. Have not had a day off. I'm not forecasted actually to have a day off at all until I think, oh yeah, I have to work Friday, so no, not until Saturday. Saturday will be my first official day off, and then I'm gonna be taking a few days off next week, and I'll be back at work in January on the 3rd. Yeah, I'm exhausted. For those of you tuning into YouTube, you can tell I'm motherfucking exhausted. It's been one. By the way, I did notice that Spotify has not released the previous episodes, and I have a feeling it's because of the way that things have been uploaded. So I'm going to try something new. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this episode does upload to Spotify. I really am hoping, because I'm a little upset that it hasn't been, I don't know what the word is, because what am I trying to say here? I like upload the file of this recording into 2 separate places. The first place is YouTube. The second place is where I hold everything that then gets transferred into the audio version of this. So that one platform houses all of my episodes and is supposed to distribute to Spotify, to Google Podcast, and to Apple Podcast. And it's only been going out to Apple. Don't know what the situation is, but I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry that those of you that have been going to Spotify, I really am hoping that this comes out for you guys. So, fingers crossed. Anywho, today's episode, I want to talk about Casey Anthony. I want to talk about this a documentary that is on Peacock And you know what? I just like, I get so drawn into these effing documentaries. I cannot, I cannot not do it. So it's called Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies. And it's a three-part series, or yeah, three-part series. Yeah, there's 3 episodes to this series. And Casey Anthony, for those of you that don't know, this was a case back in the early 2000s where a toddler had been missing for 30 plus days. And when the mom finally reported it, by the way, it wasn't really the mom, it was the grandma. It was the grandma that reported the fact that she was missing. And okay, so grandma reported it, but Casey was like right in front of her, right? So she passes the phone over, 911 call over to her daughter. Her daughter hops on the call and is like, yeah, my daughter's been missing. Okay, this is the very first time that she actually is coming out and telling her side of the story. And I have to tell you, I am so lost on what I think, because initially, when this case broke and when it went to trial, everything that was being said on the news was leading up to Casey Anthony heading behind bars for murdering her 3-year-old baby girl. And then the jury found her to be innocent of the murder. She did get sentenced for child neglect, I want to say. That's what she got. And by this time, she had been in jail for 4 or 5 years, something like that. Okay, so I remember this case. I do remember it. And I think I was a teenager at the time. And there was just so much media behind what was going on. Very, very sad story. And up until now, I think everybody was shocked and everybody was very much like, yeah, she did it. There's proof. You know, the dad had called in basically saying that there was a smell of a dead body in his daughter's trunk of her vehicle. And like that kept being replayed on the news. There was a plot twist in the story, though, if you guys remember correctly. The plot twist was that the defense team for Casey Anthony came out and said that Casey had been sexually abused by her dad. Plot twist, right? So the defense team tried to use that, and no one believed her. No one believed and didn't even understand why they would say that. They even put him on the stand, and he, of course, denied it. And he was on the stand multiple times. And by the way, she was facing the death penalty, y'all. She was facing the death penalty for this murder because after she had been arrested, this little girl had still not been found. Okay, she was still missing. She was finally found very, very close to the home that she was living in. Finally found. And it was said when she was found that she was wrapped up in a blanket with tape over her face, over her mouth. And people just had this like uproar on these things that were hitting the media. Okay. Why am I bringing it up now? because I watched the series. I watched the new series, the new Casey Anthony series. I'm blown away. I'm blown away, y'all. I'm blown away. And what really intrigued me to watch this, because I did not want to watch it at first, but I saw a TikTok, and I know I'm going to use TikTok. Okay, I know. But I saw this TikTok of, I don't even know what she's called, but she's a behavioral analysis person that, based off of your body language and mannerisms, she basically can detect whether you're lying or telling the truth or what emotions. Anyways, this gal, and I'll find it and I'll link it, okay? This gal goes to say that based off of what Casey was saying in the documentary, she wasn't saying she was innocent. She wasn't saying that she didn't do it. But what she was saying was that in these small clips that she was presenting, she was acknowledging the truth of the sexual abuse, okay, from her father and from her brother. She was acknowledging it to be true and that she has experienced trauma. Okay. So I was like, maybe I should watch this. This looks decent. This looks good. Part of the clip that this TikTok creator had posted was the funeral that was held for her daughter, Kaylee. And the father of Casey Anthony at the funeral described missing his granddaughter and missing the smell of her sweet sweat as she hugged him. And when they play this in the documentary, they like play that in front of Casey because she had never watched it before, or maybe she did. I don't know. I can't remember. But they play it for Casey, and Casey just like holds her mouth, like is flabbergasted, like. And then the next thing out of her mouth is like, is that's not normal. Like, who would say that? What is happening? Why would he say that? Like, super, super pedo vibes, y'all. Okay. I was just like, whoa, like, who does say that? Like, what? What? Okay. You have to go watch this if you're listening to me. Go watch it. Am I saying she's innocent? I don't think she murdered her daughter. At this moment, I don't think that. I do think that she has some sort of involvement in the process, whether the involvement is like there was an accident and I didn't call 911, which is very, very obvious. Now, for those of you that are going to go watch it. I'm not going to ruin it for you. But there's so many theories out there. There's like two theories that the documentary presents at the end. And it's just so mind boggling and chilling. And it leads me to think, because what really got me was the fact that when the trial was happening, when the trial was taking place, the media kept circling back around to the smell of the car and the fact that the dad was like, I was a cop and I know what a dead body smells like, and that's what that smell is. It's body decay, right? Bro, how come the media didn't cover the debunking of that thought, because the dad was out there left and right telling people that his daughter did it, but then he would also go and do reports of saying that, oh no, I think she's innocent. And then behind closed doors, he was also testifying that his daughter did it, right? Like, what are we to believe from this man? I think he had a big part into what happened with Kaylee. I think that between him and Casey, something went wrong there. Like, something happened to that little girl. And this is where I think those people that talk to dead people, that talk to ghosts and things like that, like, does somebody know anything? Has like, and I probably sound ridiculous right now, but I just don't get it. I feel like as a nation, we've been so invested in this Casey Anthony, it like creeps up every now and then we remember about Kaylee, and no one has solved the case. No one has solved the case. She was found to be not the murderer, but how come no one has solved it? Like, come on. And one of the saddest parts from the documentary, they had Casey drive back to the house in which she grew up in which all of this went down. And they have her drive back, and while she's kind of just sitting there in her car, she's like, they still have her ashes. Like, her parents have Kaylee's ashes sitting in an urn on a shelf, and they refuse to hand the ashes over to Casey. And she says she's asked a few times, multiple times, and they refuse. And that made me so sad for her. Because as a mother, not only has she gone through the ringer of all ringers, but her parents, her mom, don't want to hand over the ashes of the poor little baby. So that was my 17-minute rant about this case. And I want you guys to go watch this documentary. Take the weekend, watch it. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Did the documentary swayed you? I mean, really, and in all honesty, like, did it sway you to be a little bit more compassionate towards Casey, but you still think she did it? You still think that she should be in jail? Or did it sway you to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm glad she's free. It sounds like she's gone through a lot of shit. I think she is exactly where she needs to be. Or does it sway you 0%? And you're just like, yeah, she's just a lying bitch, right? So it's either of those. Okay. Anyways, my husband, shout out to the husband, he, after I finished watching this documentary series, he goes, you need to watch something else. And I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more. What do you mean? And I thought he was going to take me along the lines of Casey Anthony, but he didn't. He says, you need to go to Hulu. So I went to Hulu, and he said, look up, this is Between Us. Oh gosh, hold on, y'all, because I don't want to give you the wrong name. Keep This Between Us. Yes. Keep This Between Us. on Hulu. Okay. Keep This Between Us is also a documentary, and this is on teachers, male teachers that seduce and sexually abuse, manipulate their students. And yep, I watched it back to back. That was just kind of my Sunday. It was good. It was really good. Keep This Between Us. So the main character, if we want to call her that, I don't know. Is there a main character for documentaries? Maybe there is, I don't know. She basically opens up about her story back in 1999, 1998, that time. She was a sophomore in high school, and the theater teacher apparently starts grooming her, and at that point they enter this very inappropriate relationship of emails. Okay, they email back and forth. He starts grooming her. It's like the first time she's had attention from a man like this, and she's like, oh wow, and it's a teacher. And he starts grooming her to believe that, like, he's risking it all to email her back and forth. And anyways, things with her and the teacher end up escalating to DEFCON 10. When she graduates from high school, the teacher, who is married, his wife and him, right? The couple, wife, which, by the way, wife was also a teacher. Okay. These teachers invite her to move to Utah and to live in their basement while she's going to college. And guess what? She does it. She goes off to college in Utah, moves in the basement, and that's when he like has her way. Finally, when she's, over the age, out of her parents' house, that's when he has her way with his way with her, right? Now, thankfully, the wife catches on to the situation and leaves him. But she was in this relationship from the age of 16 years old all the way to, I think she said 23, 24. I was just like, what the hell? Like, she was brainwashed into this relationship. And finally, when she got out of college, moved to LA, she finally it dawned on her as to what happened, because when he came home one day he comes home. Sorry, she hadn't moved to LA at this point. She left him and moved to LA because when he came home one day, he told her he got fired. And when he got fired, it was because of an inappropriate relationship, email messaging relationship he was having with a student. And when she goes to compare these emails, y'all, they're like almost the same exact as what he would write to her to end up where he's at right now at that moment. So she ended up leaving him. And then, the documentary. Anyways, this documentary also presents two other women and their stories, one of which the teacher, the male teacher, actually had sexual relations with the student in his classroom multiple times. And shout out to her mom, because the mom reports it to the authorities, and the authorities pick up the child from the school, interview her, and arrest this mofo. Okay. Now, this man was arrested back in 2016. This man has been sitting there since 2016. The trial keeps getting pushed further and further and further. This year alone, it was supposed to be in April, then it was supposed to be in May, and then it was supposed to be in November. And well, we're in December right now. And guess what hasn't happened? The trial. The trial of this poor girl who has to like sit there and wait because she and another victim from the same teacher are the only two witnesses that the state has allowed to come forward and sit on the witness stand. So she's literally tied down to this life event since the arrest was made. There has been no peace brought to this woman, because she's a woman now. And I'm just like, bro, like she literally like graduated from high school, went off, had a career, and is sitting and waiting. And I'm like, what is wrong with the fucking system? I don't know, you guys. I'm just like, I'm telling you, it's been one of a fucking week because like this stuff weighs so heavy on me. Just the fact that like what is wrong with these men? What is wrong with them that they feel they need to chase these women? And I don't understand. I no, sorry, I called them women right now. They think they can chase these girls at the time. Like literally, science has told us that our brain does not finish developing until we're fucking 23 years old. Okay? 23. That means from the time our hormones start going fucking wonkers, which is now as early as 9. I've even heard of an 8-year-old going into puberty. Okay, so we're developing a lot sooner nowadays. And like I literally finished watching this documentary and I told my husband, wow, this makes me like not want to send my kids to school because this is just like the most ridiculous fucking thing. Like I have like stress over right? Like what the hell? Like you send your kid to school thinking that the teachers have been vetted and have gone through this education that is supposed to lead them to be decent teachers with decent moral compasses, and they're helping to shape our children and what they're thinking. And what they end up doing, and I'm not talking about all of them, of course, but like these specific two teachers, what they ended up doing is just slipping their way into the minds of innocent children, and they took away their innocence, literally just like shaped their mind through this. And you know, one of the survivors of this, one of the victims of the teachers, she said, you know, this people don't understand because this really shaped her life, you know, her adolescence. We cannot go back in time and redo that. She can't go back in time magically and just be a whole brand new high schooler. right? Everything that happened from sophomore year up until the age of 24, she cannot go back and redo that. So her first sexual experience is with this pervert of a teacher. And what, like, she's just supposed to like go off and have a decent relationship, adult relationship with the rest of her lovers? No, that's not how it works. Right? Like that's not how it works, guys. Um it's just like I just people don't understand the domino effect that happens when someone experiences this type of trauma, which leads me back to Casey Anthony. Because if what she's saying is true about her brother and her dad sexually molesting her as a child, okay? And she describes some of this in that documentary. If what she's saying is true, then it would make a lot of sense for a traumatic event like the loss of her child to be blocked out in some sort of way, right? Like just blocking it out and like, you know, she doesn't know. She doesn't know what happened. She was in she says that she was groomed by her dad. She had to just lie all the time to cover for him. She says in her documentary that she told her mom about the brother coming into her room, and her mom basically called her a fucking slut or something like that, or a whore. And that kind of tells her at this young age, like, okay, like we're not believing me, got it. Like what makes her think that she can then go to her mom and say, hey, dad is doing this to me as well? Like no, like it just, right? Like when people say, and I don't fucking understand this, why didn't you report it? You know what? You know why people don't fucking report this shit? Because there's cases that the man actually got fucking arrested and he's sitting there and they're not taking it to trial. That's why fucking victims don't say shit, because they don't want to sit there and be ridiculed and shamed, and people saying that they're not believed, and people blaming them just because what, they're teenagers and they should know better. Remember, I just fucking said that our brains don't fully develop until 24. Okay? So no, like I just do not understand. I don't understand. And my husband did bring up something very true. He said, it really sucks for these victims that actually go through this stuff. It sucks because they're not believed, or not everybody believes them, because of that small percentage of other people that say they've been abused or molested, but it never happened, right? Like the fake rape accusations. And, you know, like I hear people do fake accuse people of rape. I hear that has happened. But that's like the exception. The exception. Okay? Like for anybody listening to this right now, if your child, whether it's a little girl, little boy, teenager, child, even as a fucking adult, if your child goes up to you and confides in you that something has happened, fucking believe them. Believe them and ask how you can support them in that moment. I just cannot say this enough. Like just believe them. I don't know how old they are, if this ever happens to you or if it has happened to you, but they're just like this person with the fucking guts to just say something and just 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 fucking listen. Don't say anything until they're done talking. Okay? Just fucking believe them. Okay. Just believe them. And depending on how old they are, and depending on what happened, take the steps necessary to keep them safe, to help them because they need it. They need it the most. And whatever is going on inside of you, just know that you have to be there for them. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say about this this topic for now. Yeah. I'm going to link a few things down below for resources' sake. I'm going to also link the 2 documentaries that I talked about. And I wouldn't wish people to go through this stuff, but it happens. It happens out there. And I think the last time I had seen a statistic on sexual assault or abuse or molestation, I think the last time I saw something, it was something like 1 in every 4 women will experience this. And I think the number's a lot bigger than that. I think it is. I think that I think that maybe people aren't brave enough to say something, because even with Casey Anthony, she hasn't sent her dad to jail, right? Like she says it in the documentary, I could still file a complaint. There's no limitations to her doing that, but she hasn't done it. It's out in the open, but she hasn't done it. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And I think that as a woman myself, and I hope other people that are listening to this, as human beings that we all are, if you ever hear anyone, not just your children, but anyone, say that they were a part of something like that, I hope you catch yourself when you start thinking the thoughts of, well, what were you wearing? What was she wearing? What was she doing that brought that onto her? I hope you catch yourself in that thought, and I hope that instantly when you catch it, you start just fucking erasing that thought from your mind, because it's not what we wear, it's not what we say, it's not our body's fault, it's not our fault. that we're born into this body. And I say that to like both women and men because it happens to both genders, right? It's not our fault that this has happened. Okay, so yeah. Thanks for checking in. I'm not going to take up too much of y'all's time, but thanks for checking in, and do click on the links below. I'll catch you guys on next Monday. And I think next Monday is New Year's. Anyways, I'll have to check into that. Catch you guys later. Peace out.